Welcome to the Six-Figure Author Experiment, where we help you break through your first or next $100,000 goal. Parental discretion is advised. Now, let's get on with the show.
Hi, Lee. It's great seeing you again. I'm
It,
excited to talk with you about sabotage.
yeah, and failure. But we kind of do this podcast to post-mortem our own ideas and experiences, even when they're not going well. And I feel like that's relatable. So,
Yeah, well, I also think that so much of our work, of the work that's out there, is for like a very new author or somebody that like sabotages themselves or whose business behaves in the traditional way that like you can expect. And so a lot of this show is like, well, did you know this is another way you can fail? Like, this is
actually,
a,
I feel like it's for any creator at any step of the journey because we think that the creators who make 10 times the money we do or have 10 times the platform that we do aren't plagued with self-doubt. And really,
right.
we're all like running on caffeine and self-doubt.
Yeah, absolutely. And I always think it's fun to be like, oh, I thought I couldn't fail in that way anymore. And then I just do. Like, I mean, in the past month, we disbanded a company. I've been trying to like get stuff back up and like running. And I'm like, well, even though I know all the steps that happened, and I'm still just so surprised that even my seventh company failed, you know? And that is what brought me to thinking about self-sabotage. You had said you wanted to do an episode about self-sabotage. It got me thinking about this, my own self-sabotage. So like, do you want to dig in? We were talking and then we decided to I was like, let's hit record. And so
Let's
like,
not
let's,
record.
let's,
So,
let's rewind.
okay. A year and a couple months ago, we started the podcast, and I was like, this is going to be great. We're going to help Russell launch on Amazon, and I'm going to do better with my launches. And then I re-listened to the podcast, and I think it was exactly a year ago that I was like, well, I was supposed to launch this dark romance book that I worked really hard on, but I just threw it out there, didn't tell anyone, and I wonder why there's only a few sales. And I was like, I'm going to fix that. Well, I wrote Kinky Batman, and I'm really proud of it. It's a duet. It's dark. It has more mystery suspense than I usually put in a book. I challenged myself as a writer. I had ups and downs. I had a lot of beta readers, a lot of dev editors help me with it. They fixed parts of it different times. So this was a bigger project, and I invested quite a bit. I got one of the top cover artists I've ever worked with, whom I love, still waiting on some of the paperbacks to come into my inbox, but like I'm sure she'll email me eventually. Anyway, I worked really hard on this and I got all my ducks in a row, and then I put it up on pre-order for May 16th, and it was last year, so in 20, I had 6 months. And then I wrote another book and I launched that. And I wrote one with Renee and I launched that. And then I did a Kickstarter and I was distracted by that. And I, hired some people and fired some people. And I just distracted myself for 6 months. And it's not all bad. The launch is going, it's fine. It's not breaking any limits and it's not breaking any personal records of mine. But
So can I ask you, when did you put it on pre-order for say? So you put it on pre-order in like December?
yeah, I think it was December. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep, my team and I'm working with a really awesome assistant to build a street team. And honestly, I've noticed this before though. There's a video in my group, the Millionaire Author Mastermind, where I like announce to people that Renee and I were on book 6 of our series, which is now like 25 books. So book 6, and we were going to go for top 100. We were going to try to hit top 100, meaning getting enough sales, spend enough on ads, do whatever we needed to do to hit top 100. And the first time we said, we're doing this, we did not do it. We didn't get high enough in the store. We didn't spend enough. We didn't, whatever. And then the next one we did. It almost was like, we're going to do this. And then I remember going in to post in the group and I said, we failed so hard. Like we did not ring the bell. But everything that we did actually built our platform up so that the next time it was easy to hit top 100 and Kindle Unlimited. And then later we took the books out of Kindle Unlimited. We started hitting the USA Today, spending a lot on ads in launch week and kind of running a strategy that way. But we failed. And I'm looking at what I did. And the only way that I fail, Becca Syme would say, the only way you fail is if you take yourself off the board. So you're the king. Your desire to keep writing and publishing or whatever your goal is, that's the king. And if you knock yourself out, if you say, I'm done with this and walk away, then you're off the board. And reality is a lot of us will do this and we'll go off and do something else with our time and have fun and maybe move on and have a blast over there. And we'll always be writers. But if I want to keep publishing, I get to decide whether this launch was a failure, whether it was a success, whether it was a building block towards what I actually want, which is where I'm at. I did not do enough for this launch. And a lot of it was I put some blocks in place and I got scared. And I was like, I don't know if I can be a bigger author than what I am, which is a lie, which is as delusional as me saying I can be a billionaire author. Me saying I'm not that, I'm just not going to have a great author career is actually delusional because I've literally already done it. But if you feel like you're a failure, you feel that way and you can take yourself off the board.
Yeah, and I think that specifically to go back to the self-sabotage piece, you were saying that you were allowing yourself to get distracted by all of these things. And it's definitely something that I have felt, especially recently. It's there are these things that I need to do. I'm designing a brand new program, I'm going to launch it after I get back from Europe. And I am very nervous about it because with Monica, I did very large launches and, we did a conference and all this stuff, but I have not done a program. And this is a very weird program that I'm putting together. It's I'm nervous that I won't hit anywhere near what I hit the last time that I did a big launch, and that I without that launch, I don't know where my money's going to come from in the second half of this year. I'm freaking out a lot about that. And instead of working on that thing or moving the pieces along of my current launch that is up right now, the capitalism book, I am allowing myself to be distracted by writing another chapter of this book that's already out, or doing one more workbook, or doing all of these things that that are helpful. There's not that they're not going to be helpful, but they don't move the needle for me much anymore. Having a 20 or a 24 chapter book is not the difference between that book selling 500,000 copies and 50 copies. As once the whole so I think that we don't talk about productive sabotage, which is if I have this thing I'm scared of, which is this big launch or this thing that I don't know how to do, or I don't know if I can do it, or it's not going to hit where it might not do the thing that I want. So instead of looking at this thing, I'm going to look literally anywhere else. Can I do a coaching call? Can I be on a live? Can I do a Zoom? Can I write this article? Can I write this chapter? Whatever that thing is, those give people that are hyper productive, both of us, these dopamine hits, but
Yeah.
they mask the fact that a lot of times the real way to move your business forward is in becoming more comfortable with silence.
Yeah. And just sitting with the discomfort of, I wanted this launch to go well, and I had this plan, and I did some of it. And so I'll give you specifics because that will help. So one of the things was hired Jessica, who is amazing, organized, awesome, to build a street team for me. And I realized that I'm saying yes, and I'm throwing money at this problem. I'm like, yeah, go, let's do it. And then what happens is I get a little wobbly on the other end where I'm like, oh, I'm not sure about this. I'm like, very sure when I signed the check. And then I'm like, ah. And I realized that when I started as an indie author in 2015, I signed with a publisher in that August 2015 and watched other authors with this publisher have street teams that imploded. There's a parasocial relationship. You're basically asking your fan, like a group of fans to come closer, or a group of readers. You're allowing them a little bit closer to you. And in some ways, I was okay with that. And I really loved building up my Facebook group. And I did love having an ARC team, but it was I'm going to send you an email and that's it for the ARCs. And it wasn't a newer team with influencers. Some authors even just call them content teams now. But I had this block against having a street team or a content team. And as I look around, there are authors at a higher level than me, and they give out 2,000 ARCs. I'm in the groups where they talk about this. They talk about finding influencers and allowing readers, to get closer to them and to share about their books and have just an extra layer of relationship, more so than, hey, my book's up. Hey, I'm going to send an email. Hey, I'm going to post a meme in a group. Like having real conversations. At the same time, I've been craving that. Like, I don't want to do signings anymore because I don't have a real conversation with people. I have like a 30-second meeting and then they move on. And I'm like, well, that wasn't real connection. Like, I do crave a community. And I'm very clear on the fact that I would I want more people to read my books. Like, the desire of my heart is for people to read more books, but I'm afraid of being more famous. I'm afraid of being at a level. I'm afraid of letting people in. And, I don't know, having to perform for them. I think I'm going to have to be a version of myself that's better. I can't just be myself. And I know I mentioned that a lot even on this podcast, like a hot mess. Yay. But, it's hard. Like, I've been an A student all my life, and I only want people to see that shiny part of me. And yeah, I think when I go to put myself out there on TikTok or even build the street team with Jessica, I get to a certain level and then I stop because I'm like, okay, I did it. I got enough exposure. I got 10 likes or something on a post, or 100, or I got a semi-viral video, and now I'm good. Like, I can see myself get to a level and then step away. And it's because of fear and not wanting to disappoint people, and also exhaustion. Like, I can't be a perfect version of myself. I can't even be a perfectly imperfect version of myself. Like, I'm so imperfect, yay. Like, even that's hard. So some of this is going back to when I obviously made a vow to myself in 2015, I'll never have a street team. So I had my hand up even as I was like, yeah, Jessica, let's work together. And I had to actually hash this out with her and be like, listen, I'm sorry you're getting mixed messages from me, and I know why. Because I want to hire you and I want to do this, and I have all this fear and doubt over here. So we actually decided to slow down. I was like, I'm going to do this, this, and this. I'm going to go on TikTok live. I've been able to make more connections with readers just by posting. And then I will invite them to the street team, and she manages the Discord channel. She's very organized. So I have a partner. I'm holding their hand. And I'm gonna move it forward and maybe just, I have 50 influencers now on the team. Maybe I'll get to 100 in 6 months. And it's like, okay, baby steps. That'll be enough. Maybe the bigger authors are 1,000, 2,000 people, and I'll be at 100, and that's okay. Like I'll do that much, and then I'll do the next. Because in 5 years, people will be like, Lee, what did you do? Why is your book so big? What's going on? And it's like, well, it's all the failed ads, all the failed, messages to creators, some maybe I run this Discord with Jessica and things do implode. Things things blow up and I have to take a step back or I have to move it in a different direction. And it's scary, but I will survive. I think all this comes down to this fear of survival. And it's like, well, if I don't take myself off the board, I've survived.
Yeah. Can I ask a couple follow-up questions?
Yeah.
Okay. So one, the other people, and I know like you like when you think of the teams that imploded, would you say that they were likely forced? Because this is a very big forest question. Like all of this stuff is like this is the thing that forests deal with all the time. They see street teams implode and they see people implode because their communities don't work, but like usually those are desert or grass, like they're not actually forest people. And so like that is not their special talent.
Um, I wouldn't know put those terms on it. And honestly, Russell, I have a very vague idea of who these people even were. But my guess is knowing the publisher I came from, they were a very erotic publisher and they imploded and they were a mess and noticing like how they ran their business and how messy they were. And then the other authors who were messy and honestly just needed to be like on medication and probably never talk to anybody. Like these, I'm not them. Like I'm just not.
Right.
And at any point, I'm able to set a boundary or make a decision. Maybe 2015 Lee wasn't though, because I even watched some of Renee in my classes from 2023 where it talked about it was a huge year of growth. I set major boundaries. I broke up with a co-writer. I told my husband I couldn't fund his business. And I told my mom, this was the hardest. I told my mom she could absolutely not use my office. And I felt like throwing up. Like, oh no. Oh. And it was so painful. And it got to the point where it was so painful that I had to tell these people no. And all the pain went away. And I didn't die.
Right.
So I will grow with this street team or content team or whatever we're going to call ourselves, the villains. And
sure,
if it implodes, I will find a way to survive and I will, make sure Jessica isn't implicated in any of the emotional drama. And I don't think it will though, Russell. I think it was just an old program I'm running. So what other old programs am I running? Where am I going? Right. Well, I can't be a big author. I'm not one of the cool kids. And it's like, that's from middle school, Lee.
Right.
And you don't have to be one of the cool kids, but you also could start to say you are one of the cool kids.
Sure.
And I'm thinking a lot about identity. So you can actually move yourself into a new identity, like take a step sideways and say, that's me. That's like me. And I've also noticed there's places where I go, well, that's not me. That's not like me. And I had to change those. So one of those was my hips were hurting and I wanted to just be able to write with my computer sitting in bed all the time. And that's why my hips hurt. So I lost muscle strength. I needed to work out and I also needed to not write in bed, write in an ergonomic setting. I had to give up the identity of this chillpreneur with her computer in an awkward place on a beach. Like I can work from anywhere and be like, no, I take care of my body. That's me. Sure. That was an identity shift. And once again, and then I also made the identity shift of like, I don't work out. I'm not a gym person. I freaking lift weights now, guys. So obviously I am. And It might be a friend's gym with no mirrors, but it's still a gym. Like I am a gym bunny, which is like a gym rat, but cute.
Sure.
And that's an identity shift. And you might go, well, that sounds ridiculous. But I promise you, if you're listening to this, there's an identity. Well, Russell, sorry to call you out, but sometimes you say, I do stuff. We both use the word weird a lot. We take a lot of pride in being weird. but we can make art that is also super popular, but still esoteric, or still, I think sometimes we're like, well, I'm smarter, so I'm going to make something that only a few people get. And we might need to give up our identity a little and be like, no, I can do a piece of that that's a bit more palatable to a broader range of people and inspires more people. And I'll still have some dark corners over there with some monster romance, some orc romance. But even orc romance is mainstream now, guys. So
Right.
not just embrace the weird, but stop using that as a way to talk down to ourselves. And I'm not saying you're doing that. I've noticed when I'm saying, well, my jokes are weird, I'm not affirming that I'm fucking funny,
Right.
that I make people laugh. Like, I just don't take that identity. But if I did, I would probably make people laugh more. My subconscious would be like, oh, you can be even more goofy. You can be more silly. You can talk about serious shit and then make people crack up listening on their headphones. If I could move into that identity and stop punching down on myself in those little ways, I'd be more myself. I would reach more people. I'd help more people. And I'd have a better time. I'd have a great time.
Sure. It's
So
interesting because it seems like you are associating the word weird negatively. And I don't do that. So like I say it, I use it proudly that I am weird and like that I am unique and that the stuff is there. So like it's interesting that like maybe it's not moving into a world where like maybe it's just like weird is good instead of weird is neutral or bad.
I think so too, as someone who's like, I write smutty romance, like, and I'm very proud of it. But I also hear myself say it, and I know. I think that I'm being funny, but I think I'm also keeping myself small with that word. And
Sure.
I want to embrace the word, but also I want to think bigger. I want to allow myself to be bigger than my
Yeah.
concept of myself might be.
So I think it's interesting because like an aquatic's weirdness and dialing into an aquatic's weirdness is like what can amplify them. Like an aquatic wins by saying on some level, looking at like when someone looks and is like, what? Okay, so I have this new series called Quest Girls that I've been working on. And like book one is called Fuck Fairy, and the subtitle is No, It's Not Porn. And the second book is called Go to Hell, and then the subtitle is You Heard Me. And then book three is God's Damned, and the subtitle is like 100% Those Bitches. And we just finished the fourth book, and it's called Cosmic Bastards. And it's like, really, these assholes again? And I'm like, it's like the kind of weird where you like cannot not look at it. And you're like, I don't even know what the fuck that is. Like, you have to look at the thing. And like, that is like what ends up happening for aquatics a lot is they like shave that part off, and
Mm.
then like their books are unique in a way that like is not super marketable, but not so unique that people have to look at the thing that they're making. So like I have this new program called Hapitalist. That's the name of the program. It's about finding the triangulation between happiness, money, and projects. It's like this. We have a thing called the happy. Anyway, all the people are unicorns that are going to be capitalists because, like, unicorn usually means like a business that makes $1 billion. But like, I consider unicorn someone who is uniquely making their own business and triangulating themselves. It's a whole so like the page is just like unicorn pictures, people dressed up as unicorns, all sorts of the it's like, and so I'm like Monica wins as a grassland by keeping by like not offending anyone. But like really, and many like I'm starting to see more and more that like an aquatic wins by like being so weird that
Mhm.
like people can't deny them. And if they can't make it so undeniable that like then they need to either like 10x their uniqueness or like move more towards the center, and I am just too old to move towards the center anymore. So like I'm trying this other thing, and I'm hoping that now that we have like 50,000 people on my author stack mailing list, that like enough people are like, well, that is so weird that like I have to figure out how to do it. It's also why aquatics have so many super fans comparatively to their overall audience size than any other, because it's like, well, you literally can't get this anywhere else. Like, sure, it's like Portal Fantasy, but like it's also like 50 other things that just like is put together in this way that no one else does. So it is harder to find somebody, but those people will then pay more and like stay more and are more likely to stay forever. Not necessarily because an aquatic is like so much more brilliant than other people. It's just like there's literally no other choice. Whereas opposed to like a desert where there's nothing but choice. And like that is very helpful when there's not a lot of those things, or when people are like searching for whale readers, but it's less helpful as a market matures. Does that make sense?
Yeah. And I'm thinking as a forest, like lean into the community. I'm actually probably uniquely positioned to run the container that's a Millionaire Author Mastermind because I genuinely want to connect with other authors. Like, when we don't do this podcast, I miss it. And I'm like, I just want to talk with Russell. I just want to talk about everything. And I also want to do stuff so I have something to talk about. So I was like, I'm trying to do that too. But yeah, in the millionaires, like I generally want to connect with authors. On the fiction side, I genuinely want to connect with readers, and I love, the newsletter. People want to be in the newsletter, people want to be in my Facebook group, and then even more making a container and a space for people who want to move even closer, who want to chat, right now it's very simple. I'm like, hey, I'll send you guys a bunch of paperbacks and you do the giveaways.
Sure.
And that way you get paperbacks in-house, like you get one signed by me, and then you get 3 other copies that you can use to grow your own channel. That makes me so happy. But I'm also doing some marketing. I'm doing some relationship building. I am forming a connection with the readers who do like my books. And we'll play with it. We'll keep playing with it. But I do strongly feel like in 5 years and 10 years, this is what is going to allow me to get another layer of buzz, another layer of marketing that I was missing.
Sure.
And I can throw ads at the problem. I can write more books in the series because I love that. But getting closer to the readership is something I haven't been willing to do. And it's because I've been afraid. So facing the fear, and if it all blows up in my face, try something else. Like it really isn't going to take me out. So yeah, I don't know much about grasslands or tundras, but it's interesting that we all are served by doing what we actually just want to do.
Yeah. So
Which
what's
will benefit us.
well, so people get forests wrong all the time, and partially because we got it wrong for so long. But like the thing that it's really interesting to hear all of you say these things, because like the secret to forest growth is really ambassador marketing. And ambassador marketing is getting a small group of people like Dream 100 or 1,000, 2,000 people to like who love your stuff so much that they can't not share it. And then that splinters out and spiders out. It's that like Brandon Sanderson, like he puts a thing in a Facebook group and all of the people like use it. But like the thing about ambassador marketing is the secret has nothing to do with you. Like it's the same thing you do with the Millionaire Author Mastermind, which is you get people to come closer and to share your thing because they have the transformation. They feel seen on a deeper level through your work. And that is what makes them go, you have to read this book because X, Y, and Z reason. It actually, I don't think it can be about you and having a deeper relationship, but really, people tend to want to have a deeper relationship when they feel more deeply seen, not when they necessarily see you deeper, except when that deepness makes them feel more deeply seen.
Yeah. Yeah. And I was thinking, I think you and I both partner with other people on things like co-writers or co-business leaders. And that can be a fear of being seen also. Like I know, I have had over 5 co-writers and every relationship has served a different purpose. And some of them have been super successful. Right now, I only have one with Renee, but even there, I'm like, how much am I just hiding behind someone I perceive as more successful than me? How much am I like, and I joke like, oh, I'm just riding your coattails to the top. But I know it's not entirely true because I've had my own success and I will have my own continue to have my own success. But I can start to doubt myself. And I do wonder, where have I been afraid of being seen? So I like like I'll be behind Renee and we'll both do this course or this book or something, but I'm still hiding. And then it becomes like, what, all right, publish some books on your own, which is what I've been doing, just to be more seen, just to be more like taking those steps. Because when we avoid something, our brain thinks it will kill us. Our brain's like, oh. And it turns out when we don't want to do something, but we do it real fast. Like I've been posting on TikTok, like I'm making myself post on TikTok. Our mind thinks, oh, that's like going down to the watering hole to get water where there might be a tiger waiting. We'll give you a burst of energy, which I'm reading as anxiety. So I have this burst of energy to run down to the stream and get away from the lion. So it's not becoming normalized in my system to post on TikTok and go viral. It's something that I'm still like holding at arm's length. So my mind still thinks it will kill me. And it's giving me free energy, but I read that as anxiety and pain in my wrists because I don't need a bunch of energy to type, guys. Like I have to go do a really hard workout to actually exercise this out of my body. Otherwise, I feel like the anxiety registers as pain in me. So now you guys know everything. At the same time, I am really proud of what I wrote. I'm really loving connecting with the people in this private Discord, the influencer team, the villainy. And, we live to write another day.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think like you sounds like you have a handle on this, but it's very easy to see that since I have done this in fiction and nonfiction now a lot, it's easy to see how this looks in nonfiction. Because like when you are in nonfiction, the people that are the most excited are the ones who were the most transformed. They are not the ones, though those are the ones who sit and listen to you ramble for like ever because they're like, if I glean 1 second of one thing from this, like it will be worth it for me. Like and they grow attached because they are being transformed.
Yeah.
But with fiction, it's a lot harder to see that transition, but it's the same thing. It's like these people that are coming closer to you. You don't necessarily have to give more of yourself. What you need to do is set the vulnerability level of the entire group because like that is your job as the face of this group to say, I think you're the one who taught me this, but you you are, oh no, it was Sarah Cannon, but you set no, but if you have a group or a series or whatever, if you're leading a group, nobody will go deeper than you. People probably won't even go half as deep as you. But so like if you want people to go deep and feel seen and be transformed, like the thing you can do with these smaller circles is set the vulnerability level considerably deeper so that people will come deeper with you. They're never going to approach your level of deepness, but like they will, if your normal level for the most people is like a 2 and you set the vulnerability level at a 7, at like your inner circle group, then people will stop being a one and they might go to a three and they'll be like, oh, I feel this is so powerful for me. I feel so deeply seen because there's a safety in being vulnerable in this other space. And that allows them to have a deeper connection with your material. And then you can ask things like, what character speaks the most to you? Like, where did you feel seen? And instead of saying, like, what stuck out to you, you can be like, where did you feel seen in this book? Like, who, what is a thing that who did you, like, at what point did you say, oh my God, I have to share this with X person? Like, what was the line that you have to share? Like, pull all of that stuff out because that is then going to let them go back to their audiences and be like, I have to share this book. But if you're not having the depth you need, it's not necessarily about, I mean, on some level, it is about giving more of yourself because being more vulnerable, you have to give more of yourself. You have to like be more exposed. But that doesn't necessarily mean giving more of yourself. It's like opening a deeper, like you could open one deeper wound and like go really deep with that one wound, keep other stuff back, and people will still feel like, okay, this is the level that we're at. I think that that's the success of the author ecosystem on some level, but it's the success of like the conferences. Like we stood up at the beginning of the thing and said, this is how deep we are going.
Mm-hmm.
And then like now you all have the permission to like that is how safe you should feel this safe here because that is how safe I feel in front of all of you. And I only stood up there for what, 30 minutes or 45 minutes maybe and talked. And like I still was able to then have those communications and have everyone else out there. But like a forest superpower is not saying, look at me as I go deep. It's saying, we are using my books, my material, or some material to find hidden depths in ourselves. And I will let you safely explore those depths through my work. And then once you feel really deeply seen, you have no like a good forest group doesn't need to tell people to share. Like there's no other choice. Like that nervous energy you're talking about, like they're being built up and they're like, oh my God, I was just having a conversation with my friend about this thing. And like, this is totally her. I have like it as you're thinking about a series. This is not necessary. I know I've now beaten a dead horse, so I just want to sum up. Like, as you're thinking about like, how do I get people to like share more? And how do I get my influencers to be more connected? It's like, how do I build up the nervous energy inside of, or how do I build up the energy inside of them where they feel so connected to this work, they have to share it with somebody. It is the difference between the author ecosystem and everything else that we do because like suddenly I'm making you feel seen, giving you the connection, and then you have to say, I found this great thing. It's this. Go and look at it.
I think this is really good. And I actually was applying it to fiction in my mind because it took me 2 months to finish Kinky Batman book 2, the second part of the duet. And it was all these emotional scenes. It was all this emotion. And I cried through writing the last 6 of them. And that was difficult for me because again, there's ways that I like to hide or hold back. And I noticed in my fiction that if I keep up that wall, um, you know, the book's not going to land the same way. But if I allow myself to be really vulnerable and like really go all out, and I have done it before, like there are books like Soul to the Berserkers. I wrote a book, a story of my heart, and you just said, let's explore our depths safely. Well, I'm a high priestess of smut over here. I'm allowing people to explore their deepest, darkest fantasies in a lot of ways in a very safe place from the safety of their own home on their couch with hot chocolate in a mug beside them. And they're able to go, oh, I'm not the only one who has, likes this sort of dark romance, who likes this flavor. And I think that that's why dark romance is huge on Book Talk, because people are finding their tribe going, oh, I'm not alone with kind of imagining this twisted, awful stuff and flipping it around so it's actually just a fantasy and it's harmless. And so, yeah, helping people explore their depths. I think that that's what Colleen Hoover did.
Yeah.
And she also allowed, with the cohorts, she allowed readers to get closer to her. But she did this starting 10 years ago.
Right.
And now, and then she's like sold more books than other authors, the other top authors combined in 1 year, like 2023 or 2022 or something. And it's like, well, it's been building. It's a groundswell. And I'm not going to explore the same themes she is, and I'm not going to have the career that she has. And I don't really want it. I want to do my own thing. But I think that the more I explore my own depths, even in the construct of Dubcon werewolf fantasy, like that is me putting myself out there deeper, and it connects with others more deeply. And yeah, I think in book 2 and even in Kinky Batman, like I was approaching, the character, my heroines typically run away from relationships and their problems, run away. And that's why the guys are always, the heroes are always chasing them down and abducting them and tying them up. It really is just therapy. Like, he cares enough to make you stop running. It's some sort of thing I'm working through my psyche with story. And anyway, that's kind of a mess, but what you said resonates, and I'll have to think about it more deeply. But when I go deeper, even in fiction, you're right. People do feel seen. They do feel safe because I set the pace, I set the tone, and I made a container that is safe. Right. And I'm going to do that in fiction, on the fiction side and the nonfiction side. I hope this podcast is a container where people can go, oh my God, okay. Like, I feel like a failure today. And Lee and Russell talked about that feeling over and over and over again.
Yeah. Well, so you mentioned something that's really important that I want to touch on before we get out of here, which is so many people think that they need some sort of level of connection outside of their work to like make a forest, to make a community, to make an ambassador program work. But like most people do not connect with their creators most through seeing them, hanging out with them, getting a arc from like whatever, like getting like they connect through the work most deeply, which is why an author needs to like focus on Forrest needs to really focus on that like shared language and like the like making people feel seen in the work, because they are mostly going to communicate with you through how the work makes you feel. And when we talk about forests overall, they are, when people like look at a forest, it'd be like, oh, they have this great community, they have this stuff, like they're like all talking about like Hello Kitty or whatever. But like that is almost exclusively a very, very, very small amount of people that have chosen to take that depth of conversation. Like I have never met Taylor Swift, despite the fact that I talk about her a lot. Like I've met Kesha like one time at a signing for like 3 minutes. I met like Halsey 0 times. And like, so like these are the people that like in many ways have like the most influence. Their work has the most influence over me. And I have combined met them for 3 minutes And I don't follow any of them on social media. Like I work with them through the work. And so like, how can we make work that is the most resonant to people and then make sure that they feel seen in such a way that they have to share it? Because usually a forest, like their best the best way they have is that like evangelist person. It's not algorithmic. It's not like format or partnerships. It's how can I take this group of people and make this resonate so deeply with them in just the words that I'm using to like so that they have to share it. They have to like reread it. Like they have to do these things. It becomes part of their identity. And we talk about forests being so identity driven and like people feeling seen. And like that is what like the surface level, yes, like it's about shared language, it's about being, but like all of this stuff is really like the undergirding of like what anyone, not just the forest, can do to make somebody talk about their work. And that is a big problem, I think, in generally in most authors. Their question is not like, why isn't my Facebook group dead? Or like, why, like, oh, it's like, why is no one talking about like this book that I just like, why hasn't it become part of their identity? And it's usually because either implicitly or explicitly, you haven't made that core, you haven't given them that like I feel seen here moment, and I feel safe exploring this.
Mm. Yeah. So doing more of that, like, how do I make people feel seen and feel safe? Like, that is what I want to do more of. And that is how do I make myself feel seen? Be okay with feeling seen and being known too. Feel
Yeah.
safe being known. That's what I'm answering, another level.
Yeah.
And yeah.
And the more you can say, so like I tell a lot of these stories and like all of this stuff and try to be like very vulnerable, but it's mostly around like how can I use this as a way to that you can have a transformation.
Mhm.
Like, and that is like one of the biggest secrets that I unlocked is like nobody loves your book because of how amazing you wrote it. It's like nobody likes Sally Rooney because like she is the greatest wordsmith in the American language. They love her because of how her work makes them feel and how it transforms their life in a positive way. So whenever we're like, we can't go deeper, I can't be more seen, like I X, Y, and Z thing or even if you're like no one's reading my work like I must be bad like that is I'm not saying that's never the case. You can make bad things, like there are just some things that object, but like most of this is about like especially if you've had an editor and like people look at it and be like it's good, like most of it is then about like how can I deepen this transformation for them? How can I make my book a
Mhm.
better avatar for them? Like, how can I make my book a conduit and my main character an avatar for them to have a transformation? And that doesn't matter if like you're telling a dumb silly sci-fi like Hitchhiker's Guide type thing, or you're telling a dark romance, like every single person who says yes to you, what they are saying is, this is the transformation I want to have. It could just be like, I want to have a silly, fun time, or I want to get my rocks off, whatever it is. But like, how can I this is the transformation I want, and this is the piece of media. This is the medium that I choose to have this transformation. And when you fail at that book, usually it's because they said, that's not the transformation you promised me. I thought I was going to get this transformation, and you failed me by giving a different transformation. And that is a packaging issue, or it's not an issue at all. People just like pick up a book and they're like, oh, I thought there was going to be more sex or less violence or like no cursing. And like and it turned into a different thing, but like none of it is about you. It's all about their transformation, and that includes your strength.
Yeah.
Amazing.
I'm going to keep thinking about it. I'm running a book marketing boot camp in June and July, and I'm really excited because I ran it back in August, and everyone in the August boot camp is invited, and everyone in my 7-figure author course is invited. And then I'll get some new people who just sign up for only the boot camp. And I know that it helps people get their marketing done. I know that people really look forward to actually showing up, doing the work sprints, getting some of the foundational pieces of their marketing done. And I know it because I need it. Like I'm running it because I need a book marketing boot camp in June and July. And then I think I'll be good for 6 months and I can run it again in January.
Sure.
And honestly, I'm excited to just show up, even if it's 1 or 2 people on the call. And some days there might only be that many. But I know that if I did it for 10 years in a row, just for my showing up because I want to get my own marketing done, but I also am good at getting people to rally and like, let's all do it together. And I can see it growing. And then at some point, someone looks over and is like, wow, you run this course and it's so big. And it's like, yeah, but I started with one person. It was me. And then it was my friend Shayla and Renee. And then Tara, my other friend, was like, I need to be doing this more regularly. And then suddenly it was 50 of us. And then they got so much out of it that, like you said, they talked about it. And I'm going to be focusing on my own transformation. And I am running it again because I realized I had a really great writing streak. September, October, November, there was an election. It got a little sideways. But then December, and then I was like, oh my gosh, I've written these books and I'm going to launch them. Did the launching go great? No, but that's why I'm doing the boot camp. So I can set up some evergreen marketing for all those things. And it's like, oh my God, I have something that worked transformationally for me. So I can tell that story. And then maybe some of my friends will pitch in with stories, but maybe never, but maybe in 10 years, some people will be like, actually, that really helped. And
well, so this is, I would push on this a little bit to just say the marketing's not the transformation. That is the conduit. That is the thing that they get. But like, that is like, if you want to have 1,000 people, like if you want to have, I think Sarah's had 5,000 people go through her program, something like that. And like, but like the prioritization, like the doing the journaling is the conduit for them to have a different transformation, to become the kind of human who does X, to become. And so like most people that do courses or nonfiction, like they get stuck on this thing that's like, what, like this is the medium and this is the conduit of what we're doing. But like, what is the actual transformation of like, you are going to go from cluttered chaos human to like marketing to like having this flow often, to like be able to do repeatable things. Even that's really not like the transformation. The transformation is like this like very base like core thing that you're doing. And I think that one of the reasons it takes 10 years for a lot of people to do it is like it takes that long to really understand what the transformation is that they're like.
I think I can get clear on the transformation. You're right. The transformation is in August, I will be a happy little writer with a wonderful, clear runway to do whatever the F I want, which tends to go very well for me creatively. When I feel like, oh, all the to-do list is done. All I got to do is lie around and read. Oh my gosh, I just read another Batman book and Joker book, and now I want to write Kinky Joker. Like that's what I'm excited for in the fall, is to be a happy writer who feels like the marketing to-do list is checked off and I don't have to think about it until January. So
yeah, I love it. Awesome. All right. Well, we've been doing this about an hour, so we should probably like wrap up. But like, where can we get to your boot camp? But how do we find it?
There's going to be a link in the show notes, and I'm running it in June 2025 and July 2025. And then thinking like every 6 months. I'm running it those weeks because my kids are in summer camp.
Sure.
Like, well, I'm going to get some stuff done then,
Right.
and other than that, it's just bopping around, going to ride roller coasters with them, jump on the trampoline and do some writing. So
Sure. So what week does it start?
June 23rd,
Cool. Awesome.
2020. And then if you join, you're legacied in for every other boot camp. If people joined the boot camp I ran in August, which was only for dark romance authors, whereas this one's for any author, everybody from August is already in, and everyone in my 7-figure author course is invited in. This will be part of the 7-figure author course too. So
Amazing. I love it. And if you want to, I'm not officially launching Capitalist until July, but if you're interested in an early preview and then to tell me what even you think, you can go to theauthorstack.com/capitalist. You'll see there's like, you'd also get in the top menu bar, there's like a thing that says Capitalist with 2 unicorns, one on either side, and like it's right there. I'm pretty confident with all of the methodology of like what I'm doing, which is like quarterly workbooks and like prioritization. Have this happy compass that's like heart, which is the projects, audience, which is the audience, prioritization, which gets you in the right sequencing order, and then income to make the income that you want. And like I think I have most of it all set, but I'm going to Europe on the 15th. And
yeah,
so I'm gonna like let it sit as I go over there and try to get more comfortable with only doing one thing. And because the other thing that happened this is like I just said yes to everything, which is
yeah.
great. Like I love saying yes to everything because all my friends do amazing things, but like suddenly I'm like, oh, I have to launch all these things now. And so it's like,
Every
and
every yes comes with like 100 emails. And I
yeah,
have to realize that when I say yes, I'm like, why are they emailing me? Oh yeah.
right, exactly. And so I'm trying to now that like writer MBA no longer exists to like be like, okay, how do I keep whittling down and how do I get one program that like can grow in the way you're talking about and amplify? Because over time, it like the amplification happens and the amplification doesn't happen when you have 50 things. Like it comes when you're like, you're the person who does this. You're this human. And so yeah, I'm in process on that, but yeah, I learned I had 31 product launches in the last 36 months. That does not include retailer launches or anything. And like that's just it's too many. It's too many. It's too many.
Yeah, that's your email about realizing how many launches you had made me realize like, oh yeah, I was like, I'm going to have a big launch. Then I just cluttered up my calendar because it was scary to think about doing 700 things to push one book
Right.
versus 700 things to push 700 different things.
Right.
Like, well, of course I didn't go very far. Like, I didn't really push it. And
Right.
like,
Exactly.
what are you afraid of? What if you did? What if you got some momentum? Because magic happens when I do get momentum. So, but it's okay. You know what? I haven't taken myself off the board, Russell. I'm still
I
here.
love it. I love it. All right. Sixfigureauthorexperiment.com. Like, subscribe, comment on YouTube or whatever, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Saluted everybody.
Thanks for listening. For more, head on over to sixfigureauthorexperiment.com for archive access, resources, and more. We'll see you next time.